Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Body Slam Your Ears. I'm Steve Fall. You can follow me on Twitter at Steve Fall, of course, and we have the wonderful, the goddess herself, Issa. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing super, and thank you for asking. And the women's wrestling world is prospering today because it's been revealed through many photos, through many people on social media, that Becky Lynch versus Lita is a billboard in Saudi Arabia. It's everywhere. It's not in one spot. It's all over the place. This is huge news for women's wrestling, for Becky Lynch, for Lita, and of course for the whole entire movement of the WWE trying to bring some American values, I guess, to Saudi Arabia. So I am pumped up for this. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I saw the freaking picture on my social media earlier, and I couldn't help but to feel proud. Like, it feels like we've come such a long way. It's still not my favorite country, right? But the fact that WWE is helping an entire country make some strides towards the treatment of women, I think that's a big deal. It really is a big deal. I remember going from women not even being able to attend to Renee Young being on commentary to now they're in the billboards. Like, do you realize how far we've come from these shitty ass Saudi Arabia shows?
Well, I had a discussion with someone about this yesterday, and they brought up a really good point. You think you think, like, for instance, we live in America. You think everyone agrees with the government and everything they do? No. So is it the people's fault that the Saudi prince or Saudi Arabia, the government, the way they treat women or they treat people in general is what they value? No. They live there. It's not like you can suddenly just get up and get out sometimes. It doesn't work that way. So the people who
No,
live
that is
there,
absolutely correct, and I stand
yes.
with you on that. It's our
Okay.
government. Not everybody agrees with it. Even me, in the short period of time that I have been back in Puerto Rico, just realizing how much different the life is down here as opposed to in what we call the mainland. Because this is still part of the United States, but it runs completely different than what we run things like in the States. You know what I mean? And it really put things into new perspective as of like it's not the people's or the country's fault. That's just the way that they do things over there, and we also have to be more understanding that not everybody runs things our way.
Right. And I think that's what the problem I think with a lot of people who don't like this Saudi Arabia shows is because if you go back to the first one, it was way too close to the beheading of a journalist. And that really was like, whoa, we're gonna go here still? That happened like 2 weeks ago. You're still gonna go? And news outlets talked about it, and CNN talked about it. It was a big, big topic. The government even had to talk to the WWE about it. So I can see why people still have sour tastes, but the last Saudi show was like the best pay-per-view of 2021. Edge and Seth
And
Rollins killed it.
it felt like a real show, right? Like, remember the first one? We're gonna talk about how far we've come. The first one, there was like a bunch of fucking sofas around the ring with like people that were
Yes.
probably part of the government or like some rich mofos just sitting there watching a show that was being put on for them. Like, it felt dirty. I think that's where people started calling it blood money, this and that. Where this last one, you could see real fans, real kids. You could see the joy in their faces. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like WWE was going there to perform for the prince. I know all of us that cover wrestling make that joke a lot, but it really did feel that way for a show or two. Where now I don't necessarily feel it feels that way anymore. And you have to understand that doesn't matter whether we agree with their government or not. There is wrestling fans everywhere. Gracias. Sorry. There is wrestling fans everywhere, and these kids do deserve to see their favorite performers and their favorite superstars. Wrestling, go back to when you were growing up. Wrestlers were like super freaking heroes to you. Why would you take that away from those people to see that because you don't agree with the way the government does things? That's not fair. You know what I mean? That's another
Yes.
thing that I saw a different perspective when I took my mother to the house show in Puerto Rico. I can never compare Puerto Rico to Saudi Arabia, but they come here once a year. And just to see the freaking joy in people's faces, because we take it for granted. We can go on a road trip and see them anytime we want. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like I personally think if you look at the kids and that kind of perspective, I think it's awesome that WWE does these shows all over the world, not just there.
True, true. And you brought it up. There was no women allowed at first, and we had Renee on commentary, but she had to like cover her entire body. And then and now last Saudi show we had two women's matches. this time around, we're going to have 2 women's matches, but we're going to get an elimination chamber match where we're actually having a mystery person show up in the match. So that's already like, you're already making this more important than it already needs to be. And we're getting Becky Lynch versus Lita, to some people, a dream match.
Yeah,
yes,
a
dream
match to some people that is going to make you want to tune into that show, whether you like it or not. Because I remember a lot of times, a lot of people were like, I'm not tuning in, I'm not supporting that. And I do think that WWE has done a good job at changing these cards around to where you either have to watch or at least have to be invested in the results, want to find out what happened.
Right. Before, the shows felt like they were happening inside of a vacuum. They didn't actually connect to some of the storylines that we would see.
We will call them a glorified house show. Remember, like a lot of us will say that was just a house show with a lot of freaking like production value.
Right. It became like a show where you would get these marquee matches, but they really didn't mean anything. Like Triple H took on what was it, John Cena in one of the opening matches?
Yeah, John Cena.
The first
and
one.
Triple H had a match. Triple H, and this wasn't a Taker. I don't know. Undertaker was always having matches in freaking Saudi Arabia. I mean, Goldberg killed him there.
Goldberg versus Taker. We had Brothers of Destruction versus DX, one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. So it's not like the Saudi shows were giving us quality matches, but finally, recently, the last one and now this one, they actually matter in the grand scheme of things. They connect to all the shows we're watching, the Raws, the SmackDowns, WrestleManias, Royal Rumbles. They all connect. So I think this time around, it's pretty important. And again.
You want to know something? You just mentioned the DX match. I had completely forgotten about it. And I feel like I purposely made my brain forget about that match. How bad is that? Until you brought it up, I'm like, oh shit, I have forgotten about that match. I feel like most wrestling fans either forgot or purposely blocked it from their memories for emotional reasons.
No, it will always be I'll be on my deathbed with my children surrounding me. Daddy, what's your last words? Why did Shawn Michaels come out of retirement for that Saudi Arabia
that doesn't
show?
Get talked about enough. That was such a mistake, man. Like I always love that. I'm not a big Shawn Michaels fan. No offense to you or people listening or watching.
You son of a bitch!
I wasn't watching wrestling during that period of time. But with that being said, I respect what he's done for wrestling. I know that he has a big fan base. But I will tell you one thing. As even a non-fact fan, I always respected the fact that he stuck to his retirement. That messed with me when I saw that, because that's the thing. It was that blood money that I was telling you about. People were just saying, oh, these people are just doing it for the money. You know what I mean? It's not a bigger purpose other than they're getting a shit ton of money.
Right. So Lita recently was on Ring the Bells, and she did a whole 18-minute interview, which is great. It's an unbelievable interview. You should check it out on YouTube. But
shout out to Ring the Bells. I know him. He's amazing.
Yeah, pretty nice guy. Very nice guy. So if you don't know, check out his show, because his editing skills are unbelievable. Like, he makes me want to have. I'm like, I want to have my own wrestling YouTube channel just about women's wrestling. Like, oh man, like, he gets me all jacked up looking at that. So kudos to him and his editing skills. Because I told him today, outstanding work. So congratulations on that interview. But in that interview, Lita brings up the thing she said before about, you said the blood money and it's so terrible here. But then she talked to the women who actually performed, the Sasha Bankses, the Becky Lynches, Doudrop, and they said, you don't understand. We're out there as women wrestling in front of other women fans, little children, little girls who are crying in the audience, seeing their heroes wrestle in front of them. And they're women wrestling, powerful women, not going out there being valets and getting pushed around. They're having competitive matches.
They're being badass women kicking ass. And I'll never forget that when the first match happened, I felt there was so much negativity on social media because A, it was Lacey Evans and Natalia, and B, because they were wearing big oversized t-shirts. And at that point, I was like, who gives a shit? Do you people not see past how huge this is right now? And people were criticizing because they're hugged or they were emotional. I'm like, I wish people would put their fandom behind them every once in a while and see the bigger picture, see the bigger purpose. That was such a groundbreaking moment. And when, you get on social media, I was tweeting about that the other day, actually, how social media can really ruin your experience watching a show. I've been staying off of Twitter when I watch wrestling so that I can make my own opinion about it, because they really can influence you. But you're right. Those women are doing something very important. It's a bigger purpose. It's beyond the paycheck. It's Saudi Arabia. It's about what they're doing for women and little girls out there.
And change is hard. People think you can just be like, hey, we're going to do this. Boom. And the next day it's like, oh, we're Americanized. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's taken us like 5 years to get to this point of not just one poster, not just two posters. There are billboards. There are posters everywhere showcasing Lita and Becky Lynch. So it's not like, oh, we're just doing one poster to appease. We are doing multiple posters because we want to do multiple posters. It's outstanding. I think it's outstanding, and I'm just very happy and proud.
This is a card that you have Goldberg and Roman Reigns. This is a card that you have an Elimination Chamber where the title is on the line, and you have the names of Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins. For them to put the poster of Lita and Becky Lynch around the country, it's pretty freaking cool, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just one of the, again, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. Also, more women's wrestling news. AQA has signed with AEW. She recently competed against Jade on Dynamite, and it was a pretty good match, I thought. But yeah, she has signed with AEW, so good for her. And we'll have to see what happens next, because I know there was some contention. I had the joke too, like, how did she get a championship match when she wasn't even in the rankings? But an open challenge means you get a championship match, I guess.
I was making jokes about people getting title shots not being in the rankings. Are you trying to call me out?
I always call you out on your bullshit.
I do have to say, I thought a great match with Jade. I thought she really shined. Doesn't do Jade, your champion that you're trying to highlight, any favors where people are talking about the contender other than her. Where I personally feel like you should be booking Jade the way they're booking Serena Deeb, right? I want to see Jade just squash women. That's the way that she looks like to me. That being said, good for her. We'll see what they do with her. I told you in the last show, and I'll repeat it again, I'm very on the fence every time AEW signs someone, just because it just feels like it's a shiny new toy, and then we move on to the next debut next week, and you don't see them again. So all of these names that we mentioned, except for Jay White, because Jay White was just doing a favor. I'm gonna put money on the fact that we probably won't see him again after Rampage, but we don't need to talk about that today. But I want to see where people go. I want to see where they go, because a lot of the past debuts that we were excited about, we don't even see them on TV anymore.
True. Miro, the story about Miro has come out that he is almost ready to come back. They just don't have creative for him, so they're not going to just throw him on TV for no reason. So we'll have to see what happens with him. At least Malachi obviously has something going on. Andrade maybe has a Darby Allin storyline going on. So there's a few people here and there. And Tony Khan recently defended Adam Cole's booking. So, but Tony Khan,
of course, he did.
Tony Khan's he's been very, very. I don't like to use the term, but he's been very butthurt lately, and that's and I don't think that's the way to go about business, especially with a Twitter account that has millions of people looking and challenging you every single moment of every single day. So
because they know how he's going to react. I've been having a conversation today also about that. It's like a lot of times it's bad, because I'm sure you get it. We get a lot of shit on social media. Imagine the level that Tony Khan gets, and it has to be hard to stay quiet. But the more attention you give to people that are trying to troll you, the more they're going to do it, because they know they're A, getting to you, and B, you're putting them out there. So now people are loving having a platform or being given that exposure. So he needs to just like chill and not respond to every single criticism. Like, he didn't need to come out and say, oh, I only secured JY because I said Forbidden Door. I thought that was such a dumb tweet.
that opened up the Big Swole tweets, because they're like, oh, you apologize for that shit, but you won't apologize for Big Swole, you asshole? And that's what happened. Like, that opened up a floodgate of look at the comments after that tweet. They're not about Jay White. They're all about Big Swole. So, moving on though, May 8th, 2022, this year, WrestleMania Backlash is coming back. That's right. It's no longer just Backlash. Last year we had it. It's going to happen again. WrestleMania Backlash. On the poster, though, Becky, Ronda, Brock, Roman, Sasha, Charlotte. Interesting. Very interesting. Powerful women all on there.
The name of WrestleMania rematches. Watch. That's what it's going to be.
It's going to be in Providence, Rhode Island. That's kind of in the neck where I kind of live. So I will be 100% driving 45 minutes to an hour to go see this.
People planning to attend, get your tickets when they become available because it's a mid-size arena. So I don't think there'll be a lot of tickets available.
No, I went to a Backlash years ago, 2009. The main event was the McMahon family, Triple H, Shane, and Triple H versus Legacy, Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase, and Cody Rhodes. Yeah. And the world title was on the line in a 3-on-3 match. Yep.
No, yeah, I'm just saying the arena is not like the size of a Barclays or a MSG or a TG arena. Like, it's a smaller arena, so they're not going to be like 14,000 tickets. They'll probably be like 8,000.
But let me tell you my experience. I recently purchased AEW Boston tickets for Dynamite in April. And I got to tell you something. Ticketmaster is a big pile of piece of shit. Because they were like, come on, 10 o'clock pre-sale, 10 o'clock pre-sale. It didn't, pretty much the pre-sale didn't start till like 12:30. But on your phone or on your laptop, whatever, Ticketmaster would let you get in a queue. And then it would get you down to 0 and says, you're next, pick your tickets. You pick your tickets, and then it would just drop you back out. It happened to everyone all friggin' morning. So Ticketmaster, AEW, get your shit together. They do
it every single time. And I always tell people, it's like, it's very hard if you play the market when it comes to ticket of what to figure out when to buy your tickets. Because if you get there for pre-sales, or the moment they open, they're very hard to get. Very hard to get.
It was insane. I would never highly recommend that. So I'm very excited for WrestleMania Backlash coming to my neck of the woods. And we're going to get Survivor Series in Boston Garden as well this year because we got effed over in 2020. 2020, we got effed over because SummerSlam, TakeOver, Raw, and SmackDown were all supposed to be here all the same span of time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then COVID decided to poke its stupid head into my plans, and thankfully, I got a refund because I spent a lot of money on 4 tickets.
Yeah, but it ended up being Vegas when it finally went back to crowds, and I love Vegas a lot more than I love Boston, so.
I don't give 2 shits about Vegas. I don't live in Vegas, all right? I live in Boston. I got screwed. Just saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
sorry. I have children. I can't go fly off to Vegas because I want to. I can't just do that. Boston, I can drive down the street 15 minutes and I'm there. Boom. So that's
listen, you fly out to Disney because you have children. I don't have children. My Disney is Vegas. So anything that makes me go to Vegas, I'm there.
I hate you. Yes. So there you go, folks. That's all we have here for Body Slam Your Ears. We talked about Lita, Becky Lynch, Saudi Arabia, Elimination Chamber. So many good things. So much more to come this week. But it's Friday, so that means tomorrow and Sunday, no shows. But we'll see you back on Monday for Body Slam Your Ears, unless something crazy happens on Saturday or Sunday, like Shane McMahon appears at a GCW event.
Did you see the picture? He's not gone from WWE.
I know. I did see that picture. He wasn't gone. He was let go. Air quotes.
They probably just said, "Oh, get over it, Shane. We'll talk later." Like, you know what I mean? Like, when think about it, this is a son-father relationship. It was probably like, go to your room and get over it, fit kind of moment. That's probably what happened.
Probably. I'll be honest though. That story and the websites that reported it, I think what happened was once they did that, it really opened up criticism because the story was all wrong. It kept getting wrong and more wrong and then more wrong and then more wrong. So the websites that were posting it, the big ones, and I'm not going to mention by names, but the big ones, they kind of made themselves look like Dave Meltzer. The plans changed.
Let's be real here. Lucha Libre Online as of right now is actually the biggest in the world when it comes to impressions and clicks that they get. And I personally think that the moment that people saw the clicks and views that story was getting, they just kept spinning it out of control without realizing what was even being said anymore.
Okay. That makes sense. Makes sense.
It got good views. Everybody ate thanks to Shane McMahon. Okay? Everybody ate thanks to Shane McMahon.
Except him and his family, because he was let go, according to the stories everyone was reporting. That's funny shit. All right, folks. I've been Steve Fall. You can follow me on Twitter at Steve Fall. You can follow Issa everywhere. OnlyFans, Twitter, Instagram, Christian Mingle, all that good stuff.
I am not a Christian Mingle, people.
Someone's got to make it. I don't want them to, but someone's probably already done it. Took your photo and put you somewhere.
Oh my God, probably. I have
probably.
had to take down a good 4 or 5 fake accounts of me. So.
Oh, wait, are you the real Issa or am I talking to the fake one?
No, I'm the Tinder swindler.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Wait a minute.
Let's just wrap it up.
Have a good one, folks. Have a good weekend. We end the show the same we do every single time. And with what?
Adios.
Adios.